Hello, everyone. It's your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only here with.
Aidan.
And today we're going to be doing a quick interview. Today is.
Uh, Sunday, May 28th, 2023.
Consider this video a little time capsule, a way for you to look back and learn more about the one, the only Winslow, Aidan Miller, Emperor AP, one of my best friends, and a great person overall.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
I appreciate you. How would you describe yourself to a stranger?
That's a great question. Um, I guess I would say hello. My name is Aidan Paul Miller. I have gone by Winslow, as Jet said, when I did some of my rapping stuff. Went by Emperor AP through the Empire of Eternia, a micronation that I started. Um, I would say the most important things to know about me, to give you a little bit of idea of who I am. I was raised by two super loving parents, Jerry Miller and Mariah Miller. I grew up fairly poor in South Louisiana, um, but I have always been excited about the possibilities for life and about what it is that I could see and learn and understand about other people and about the world. And so, throughout my 25 years almost of life thus far, I have spent a lot of that um, trying a lot of stuff and getting a lot of stuff wrong simply for the purpose of trying to better understand the world and my life. And I think that has led me to narrowing my interests and my focuses a lot to be the person that I am today, which is someone who has done some writing and both writing and, um, you know, uh, in fictional pursuits, in pursuits to write novels and movies and music writing, writing raps, writing songs, poetry, and into writing about science and about my worldview and politics and philosophy. And I think in doing all of that and in sharing that, not just through writing, but also through, through film, through video, through multiple forms of media, I've learned a lot and I've been able to connect with a lot of people that I feel very fortunate to be able to have done so. And I think I have come to appreciate all of the different intricacies that I've been able to see about the world and about the people in it. And I feel lucky that even though I know it's only a very small sliver, that I feel like I've been exposed to more than I ever thought I would be in my life.
Very nice. Very solid description.
Thanks.
Describe what an average day in your life is like.
An average day in my life. Well, my girlfriend Tiffany and I live together at her family's house. So I would say my general day starts up with getting up next to Tiffany, being excited that I'm with her. Generally, I'll, cuddle up to her, stroke her hair, or something like that, let her know that I'm there. She generally sleeps through that pretty well. So I'll get up, I'll probably put my clothes on, go ahead and get dressed and eat. Um, Sometimes I'll come wake up Tiff. If I know she's had a rough day before, I probably won't right away because normally she doesn't like breakfast. But if it seems like the right occasion, I'll get her up and see if she wants to have some breakfast. Most of the time, she doesn't, like I said. But I'll do that. If it's a day where Tiffany gets up, generally we'll go and start our day together. I like to help her out with like getting up and getting dressed and stuff. So when she gets up, I'll like grab her socks and like help her put on her socks and stuff and uh, help her to get ready with the things that she needs. And then we'll generally talk about something that we want to do. A lot of the time, it'll be running around trying to do something for Eternia and something that I'm trying to do, which I definitely appreciate her putting up with. But as well, sometimes it's things with her family. Tiffany really cares about her family, and so a lot of the time we're helping her sister with her little girl Isabella. We'll be helping Megan and Jason, her other sister and her sister's husband, who now have a new baby. and generally helping her parents with their extended family as well. They take care of parents and siblings and stuff as well. And so between all of that, that generally takes up a lot of time for Tiff. Every once in a while, especially recently, she's been hanging out with friends, which is really cool. And so I've gotten to meet a whole new host of people and gotten to see what Tiff was like from her friend's perspective, from like her earlier life, which is really cool. But generally, that's how the day starts. We'll go get up, do something like that. In the case where Tiff doesn't want to get up, usually I'm working on something myself for Eternia around their property. I do metals refining, so every once in a while, I'll be working on that by myself in the morning before I get Tiff up. But if not that, sometimes working on an RV that we got together, trying to fix that up and make it viable for us to live in for a little while we're out on the land that we purchased together. Um, After that, it depends on what the day is, what we decided to do at that point. Once we get done with whatever it is that we were doing for that day, generally we'll go and eat dinner with Tiffany's family, which is always really cool. We will uh, kind of start to get laid down. We usually like to watch a show together, something like that to get laid down. I like Letterkenny in particular. It's a pretty good one that we've been watching a lot. They just released a new season for. But generally, we'll watch some kind of show because I'm, as I told you before, more a fan of shows than movies. But every once in a while, Tiff really likes movies, so sometimes we'll watch a movie. But um, another thing I suppose that I do when I'm not in a break period, I guess, like I am right now with school, as I go to school. Both Tiffany and I pursue STEM fields, fields pursuing science and technology. I am in my master's currently for a degree in physics. Tiffany has completed as of this year her master's in mechanical engineering and is pursuing a PhD in mechanical engineering with a specification in um, robotics and controls. And my specialization for my master's right now is optics, so learning about lasers and light and electromagnetic radiation and all that stuff. So if I'm not working on a project or writing or doing some sort of thing that is a personal interest of mine in a side manner, I will be focused on trying to continue my studies and understand a little bit more about the world that I live in through that, which I think, as I talked about in the previous question, is kind of one of those narrowings, the ways that I've specifically chosen to learn a lot more about the world and about the people around me.
Ballin'. Let's dive more into your favorite interest and pastimes, and what about them makes them your favorite.
That's a great question. For one, I'm going to keep harping on it throughout this because it's a big part of my life. But physics. When I was a kid, I wasn't particularly good at like math and science, and I wasn't ever really like encouraged that hard to pursue that as a profession or to think about that as something to have great aims in. Um, but once I got through high school and I had taken a physics class, I loved it, and I felt like that was something that was a way that I could constantly improve and constantly do things. Even in a situation where, uh, you know, I I may not understand everything that I need to about the world or about the way that things are going. I can always look to physics to be a way to kind of build that understanding and to feel like even if I'm the most ignorant person, there's something that I can pick up that I can start working with. And that has led me to a lot of really cool places. I have gotten to do a lot of cool stuff with it. I have gotten to learn about more than I ever thought I would, in the sense that uh, people say you don't know what you don't know. But every step that I've taken in my physics degree and in my pursuit of learning physics has taught me that every time I learn a new thing, it opens a world of things that I didn't realize were there. And that's really exciting. So that's pursuing physics in one way or the other has been an incredible pastime for me. It's taught me new skills. I have started working with electronics and with optics, and with computers more than I ever thought I would. Um, I have learned about like sensors and stuff like that. All very exciting. Um, and in addition, I would say another big pastime of mine is hanging out with the people that I care about. Hanging out with people like Jet, hanging out with, of course, Tiffany, hanging out with people who are interesting to me. I feel like for a lot of my life, I have had difficulty with making friends and with trying to get out of like a bubble. And so I think it's been really exciting as I've gotten older to meet people who inspire me to do that more and to meet people who teach me new perspectives on life, because sometimes there are people that you initially seek out that you see, wow, that person's really awesome and I would love to get to know them. And sometimes it's people who you just run into, and even if you don't become friends with that person, or even if you only see them in passing, sometimes people teach you a lot about yourself and about what the world is to them. And so getting to spend time with the people that I have, getting to meet the people that I have through my professional career, through my friendships, through relationships, through my family, through just walking down the street is very cool and very interesting. I have never met a person that I thought didn't interest me in some way as far as who they are and what they think about. So I feel lucky in that.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
What is your greatest accomplishment?
My greatest accomplishment. That's really tough.
Mm-hmm.
That's really tough. I feel like I've done a lot. Um, Not to be boastful, but there are a lot of things that I'm really proud of in life. Um, I would say my biggest accomplishment has probably been my relationship with my dad. Um, my dad is older. He's 80, 78, about to be getting up there to 80. He's going to be 79 in August. But my relationship with my dad has been something really cool because I have very naturally and easily had a relationship with my mom growing up. My mom, of course, I was her kid. Um, but my mom was somebody who really um, uh, was a part of your life, no matter what. In the sense that her personality was very outward. She was somebody who liked to be involved in things and liked to be, I guess, not the center of attention, but liked to be in the spotlight to that extent. Liked to uh, reach out to people and to make people know her presence was there. My dad, on the other hand, is someone who I feel like when I was a child, I had a relationship with for sure, and I cared about and I loved, but from the perspective of a parent and a child. I feel like I always kind of knew a lot about my mom's personality because she threw it out there. My dad, I felt like, was always somebody who's more reserved, somebody who, did what needed to be done, but didn't kind of push things beyond there. My dad has always been someone who, while very stern and very serious, very direct with what he wants, was also somebody who a lot of the time would prefer to go along to get along, to make sure that as long as things were stable, things were okay, that it was important for people to do what they wanted and to enjoy their lives. And so, in that, I feel like my dad and his philosophy on life was very reserved and was about the people around him and not necessarily expressing himself to them. And so, as I've gotten older and I got to learn more about him, I have gotten to sort of poke at him and prod at him and learn a little bit more about who he is. And I have been really excited to find that in a lot of ways, it seems like he wanted that too. And that um, there are certain relationships that um, uh, I have felt like we've like reached and connected on as far as a father and son that I worry that he may not have had with like previous kids. And I think that could have been because of like just the disconnect of people not wanting to like reach out and do that. And I understand to some degree that like that's uh, that should be something that like he does. But I think in that perspective, uh, we don't know what we don't know. I don't know that my dad ever knew that that type of connection to another person was really possible in that sense. I know with my mom and him, it was he knew that that was possible. I think through her because she was a very like like they were gonna build that relationship one way or the other. My mom wouldn't have it any other way. But I think through that, my dad started to open up more, and not just to me, not just to my mom, but to other people in his life. And I think I have been incredibly proud to see that, and incredibly proud of my dad. That is definitely more his accomplishment than my accomplishment, but I feel like initially there is always a reservation. There is always something that you're not sure of how to go about things, or how to handle things. And I think in other similar situations in my life, it's been easy enough for me to just kind of ignore it and not really push for something. And that building that relationship with my dad and learning each other's differences and learning uh, our connection points is something that has been a big accomplishment to push me out of my comfort zone and to allow me to really express to someone who I care about that I care about them, and in as many ways as possible.
That's very powerful, and it shows how much you value your family and how you and your family have shaped each other.
I agree. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate
Let's see. Next up, we have what is your happiest memory?
my happiest memory. Hmm. I have a lot of happy memories. Can I list a few that are up there? Is that
I want you to like really try similar with how you came up with like greatest accomplishment.
like boil it down?
Yeah, to like a singular.
Oh gosh, that's just so hard because it feels like you leave out so many people and so many things.
Um, I'll give you this.
Yeah.
You only name like one happy memory that you put as like the like favorite happiest memory, but at the end of the interview, we'll do two things. One, we'll do like a rapid fire. You go back over like each of the questions, but with like one sentence answers, which is going to be really interesting. I'm curious to see how you're going to do that.
Oh.
And then the second thing, you get to do like shout outs. Like if there's like any like person, place, or thing that you want to like show love that you feel like you would have in like the happiest memory section or in any of the other sections, but you didn't get a chance to, you just can. You can just go hard on that.
Okay. Um. I guess I would say my happiest memory, and it's gonna be one that is a little. It has a like meaning to it, but the meaning to it wasn't necessarily the thing that made it happy. There's a very very strange reason that it is the happiest one. It My happiest memory is probably there was this one time where my friend Carlos and I were in uh, uh, were in Grand Isle, Louisiana, which is like a little beach town in Louisiana. It's all the way at the bottom. It's technically like an island that's in the ocean, but it's connected. It's basically a string of levees to protect from hurricanes. And there's like one or two little bridges that cross into it, and the entire thing north of there is like the marsh. So it's like the end of Louisiana already, and then there's like one little like thing, and that's Grand Isle. I'm not sure how much of it is there anymore because of like climate change, but at the time, my mom's sister, my aunt Candace, had a beach house there, and they live in Florida, so they weren't visiting that beach house as much. But she sometimes let us use it, and one time my mom wanted to like go away for like a vacation thing, so she asked me if I wanted to go, and I told her I did. And at the time, it was summer vacation. I was maybe 10, 11, somewhere like that. And my friend Carlos, who's a few years older than me, I was also on summer vacation. And so we went and we had a lot of fun that summer. We stayed for, I think, like a month or something. Like, we stayed for like a good long time. And it was super fun. Like every weekend, my dad was down there too, which was really cool because I got to do a lot of stuff with him. All that's not the memory. The memory is we're at this beach house, and there's a lot next to it where a beach house could have been built, but for one reason or another it wasn't. And so that's just this additional lot that's sitting next to it. And my friend Carlos and I would go and like hunt for grasshoppers and frogs and butterflies and stuff like that in this field. And so it's beautiful when the sun's coming down and you're just kind of in this field. It's very nostalgic that you can look across and like see the beach. Of course, this like dirty brown like beach. It wasn't real pretty. It's South Louisiana, but it was cool to see the water. You know, the sun shining off the water. And so we'd be playing in this lot, and the grass is like overgrown, and nobody really messes with this lot. So that was what made it so nice about catching all these animals. But when I ran out there, I ran out barefooted, and my friend Carlos also ran out there barefooted, and it was all those big tall weeds were pickers. If you're not familiar, they're these little plants that specifically to spread their seeds around. They have briars on them, little uh, thorns that will stick into you or to anything else that passes by and carry them along, pull them off. And so I got a ton of those all in my feet. I ran to the middle of the lot, which, this is probably a like 20, 30 foot by 30 foot lot or so. So it's enough that it's a good distance. And so I run straight out into the center of this lot, realize my mistake. I'm in the middle of this huge briar patch, and the I like stand and I'm like looking around and I'm shocked. My friend Carlos is like not too far next to me, just like a few feet next to me. And I like step on all these, and I think I stepped on a particularly big patch of them, like just a cluster that was right there. And so I like kind of fall down, and I like catch myself, and like my hands have like all the pickers in them too. And I'm laying there, and I like get up and I look, and I realize like there's no way I'm making it back. Like I just every like step I take, like my feet are like hurt, and like there's all these pickers in them. And as a kid, you're like, what do I do? So I was like sitting there just upset, and my friend Carlos, like without saying anything, just like picks me up and like carries me through the pickers. It was really crazy because after that, we like sit on the porch and like pick all these pickers off. And we were just laughing and joking still. He was acting like nothing had happened. And that just always stuck with me. One, the like heartfelt thing that someone would do that for you, like just the very selfless act in it was like special. But I said that wasn't like the main driving point of it. I guess because even though that like personally that part of it really hits me, it really resonates with me. It makes me emotional. I think that the thing that makes it the happiest memory was in part that, but in part just where we were in the time. It felt very nostalgic. It feels like a time when I was very much like I guess almost like in a blissful ignorance to some extent. Like I didn't really have any like desires or interests. I wasn't trying to do anything at that moment. I just existed as a person, and there wasn't any problems. There weren't any things going on, and I'd be curious to know my friend Carlos's perspective on it. But at that moment, it was just being a kid and just having fun, and I like felt I felt good.
I'm here for you, my dude. Do you need anything?
No, I'm good. I appreciate it.
Okay. And I appreciate you being so like open about everything. It was a very beautiful memory. You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm choked up.
I got you.
Yeah.
Take your time if you need a moment, because the next thing is also probably pretty heavy. What do you love the most about life?
What do I love most about life? I think that's had like a few answers throughout my life, but I'll boil it down to what it is right now. I think when I was a kid, um, I probably would say like something very general, like having fun or something, like something very abstract like that, which was still true at the time, but I think it just the feeling of like enjoying things, I think was probably what I would have felt. I think you know throughout a lot of my life, especially like my teenage years and my young adult years up to now, I would say for a long time, my teens, right before 20s, I guess, um, would have probably been like people, just the people in my life, the people that have gotten me. People in general, are interesting and exciting. And that's definitely like very close. I think my favorite thing about life is the wild concept of it. The fact that I've been able to learn so much about physics is really cool because it has allowed me to understand to some degree, to some very small degree, but to some degree, all the like things that have to happen just to make like chemistry work. And so it's really weird to see that there's like so much chemistry that has to work to make like biology work. And there's so much biology that has to work to make like our experience as we experience it right now happen. That's wild. The fact that like not only are we like existing and living, because we could be living as like amoeba, but we're not. We're living as like these super complex, like hypersensitive, like uh, incredibly vast organisms. On the concept of like the scale of other, like just the physical size of other organisms, we're gigantic. But also in the concept that we have so much life that we experience. Amoebas experience things very differently than we do. We're able to soak up so much of life all the time, in every moment. Even our most boring moment would be like the highlight of any other creature's existence, I think. And that's really cool. The concept that like all of this existence is like tailored to some extent our preference. We were built to survive that way to some extent, whether you believe in a religion that physically built those things that way, or whether you believe, and follow the science that says we evolved that way to actually be tailor fit to our environments as a part of them. Nonetheless, that's still an incredible thing to be in. We're not watching a documentary about it. We're not learning about it like other animals. We're not like viewing it from the outside. Every moment that you're alive, that's happening to you. Like all that life is existing to you and through you. And that's why.
I think it's very profound to essentially be like, what you love about life is life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that honestly leads very well into the next question, which is a little long-winded. I apologize for how I phrased it. What do you think you've thought about the most throughout your life? And what is the most profound revelation you've come to on said topic?
What do I think I've thought about most throughout my life? What's the most profound revelation I've come to on that topic? Probably nonsense.
Hit me up.
I think a lot of our life, specifically mine, I can't speak to anybody else's experience, a lot of my life has been me trying to figure out individual things in individual moments, but all of that in a larger scheme of things is a particular like puzzle or a particular like set of problems that you're trying to solve and trying to figure out, even if it's just like walking down the stairs or something. And so all those things are really important in those moments. But to the larger scheme of things, they're like unconnected. You could trace back all the individual steps, but learning how to walk downstairs isn't relevant to you right in this moment. It's only relevant to you when you need to go and walk downstairs. So I think all of that being said, any moment that hasn't been me specifically learning a thing for the first time, or even like improving that and like building on that, which to give credit is most of life, every single other little moment is just like random blurb thoughts in my head, which is like fine, like things you think about everyone's. Oh, I forgot to get paper towels, or oh, there's like a new thing that I want to watch on TV, or oh, I could imagine a fantasy world where blah 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 blah, blah happens, and sometimes it'll literally just be like a weird little like silly thought or whatever. Uh, a lot of it is like to a larger scheme of things, or to even put into practice to any sense, like straight up nonsense. I enjoy it. It's very fun. It's very interesting. I think it's part of the way that our minds work. Like, in order to figure out how to do complex tasks, I think we learn to do them by like trying out a thing we haven't done yet and then seeing if it works. And then if it does, we learn from it and then we move forward with that as like a set routine thing. But outside of that, we don't know that those things would work until we try them. So a lot of what we're doing moment to moment, specifically me, a lot of what I am doing moment to moment is in the moment almost nonsense, and I really like it.
And what would you say? Because you went into a lot of depth on it. What would you say is the most profound revelation you've come to on nonsense?
Mm. Can I get a thing to wipe my nose?
Oh, for sure. And I'll be right. I'll get you a thing.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's very thoughtful, Jeff.
Also, feel free to like say whatever, like while I'm outside of frame and stuff.
Whatever. Now that he's outside of frame. He's pretty cool. Best friend. Out there. Very cool guy. And he's got this girlfriend, Ashley, and she's cool. I think they're doing well together. Yo, he's back.
I got a little bag to like put it in.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. That's very thoughtful.
And let me know if you need any more.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
What's the most profound revelation I've come to on nonsense?
Yeah.
I would say that starts with that kind of idea that, like, yeah, a lot of what we do is nonsense. And it's also to some extent, that all of our individual experiences coming from that nonsense, or at least from my understanding of how other people's experience is, that we should be okay with who we are. That nonsense is our nonsense, and that nonsense is good.
I think that's deep. I feel like a lot of these are chaining into each other really well. What are words of wisdom that you would like the next generation to take to heart?
Words of wisdom that I would like the next generation to take to heart. To live the way that you feel is important. If all of this is nonsense, if all of it is just the result of actions and consequences and reactions and reconsequences, I think it's necessary that as a part of an ongoing and developing system, that you play the role that you fit in. That means, to me, to do the thing that you feel in your heart. Follow your heart to some extent. But to the extent that not only is that something you should do for yourself, it is something that you were put into this environment to do. You were a construct of that environment. And so when you react to something, you should listen to that reaction, and you should make it important and known to other people that you feel that way and that you are reacting that way, because it helps to influence the rest of the system. There's a reason that you feel that way. There's a reason that you were here. Um, you are the consequence. You are the result of something. And so you should make that important and apparent to others so that that influence can be carried forward in the way that it was meant to.
I appreciate the message on like making sure people know how and why you're feeling about like the world. What do you hope the world will be like in 20 years? Well, sorry. What do you hope? Because I might have said think. What do you hope the world will be like in 20 years?
So right now it's 2023, so I'd be 2043. What do I hope the world will be like in 20 years? I hope that the technology that we're creating right now is put to good use universally, in the sense that I want to see people have more opportunity and more individual ability thanks to the things that we're doing with artificial intelligence, with, of course, I'm going to give credit to optics because I like optics, with robotics, with even just our politics and philosophy, the way that we talk about life and society and things. All of this, I hope, brings about an understanding that it is important for all of us to make use of that, and for all of us to make use of it equitably, in the sense that there shouldn't be some people who have a lot more ability and opportunity to use all of the assets of humanity than others. That's taking away their humanity to some extent, or placing it as inferior to others. So I hope in 20 years we are a lot more equal. I hope we are a lot more free to that aspect, that, you know, people have more mobility and opportunity in their lives to do the things that they see the world should be, and make the changes they hope for. And through that, I hope that in 20 years there is a lot more change that's being done with that. That mobility and that freedom opens up doors that we have never thought possible. You don't know what you don't know, and if we aren't trying to unlock those doors, and we aren't trying to push forward in a way that we know is necessary and important for ourselves as individuals in a species that isn't that different from one another, we should really be thinking about what could be beyond those doors, and we should really be pushing toward that fervently.
So you hope for a future where people are more capable, but also people have the same level of capability without like huge imbalances, and that people are using that increased capability in order to push for what we may today see as like the impossible.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way of saying it.
Well, thank you. How would you like to be remembered in the future?
Heavy one. Heavy one. I guess the way I am, you know. I would like to be thought of as someone who loves Tiffany and Jet, and Ashley and my dad and Carlos and my family and my friend. Like, just going on to those general extents. I want to be known as someone who took a lot of time to think about the things that they did and why they did them. Someone who really likes life and appreciates it, and someone who is really hopeful for humanity and for life. Appreciate it. I'm here for you.
So next up, we're gonna do like the hard part, and then we're gonna do the shout outs. And I want you to go crazy with the shout outs. So you can do that one for like as long as you want.
Bet.
So the hard part is I want you to read each question one by one, the questions that you already went through. But before you read the next one in the list, give a one sentence answer.
Okay. How would you describe yourself to a stranger? Hi, my name's Aidan Paul Miller slash Winslow slash Emperor AP slash Tiffany's boyfriend slash Jerry Miller's and Mariah Miller's son slash Chet's friend slash Ashley's friend slash right, continuing on ad infinitum, friend, period. Describe what an average day in your life is like. I get up, I get dressed, eat, take care of necessities, spend time with Tiffany, try to work on my hobbies, talk to my friends, and try to get some rest. What are some of your favorite interests and pastimes? I like physics, writing, politics, spending time with friends, and thinking about life. What is your greatest accomplishment? I would have to say my greatest accomplishment is my relationship with my dad. He means the world to me, and especially since my mom passed, our connection to each other has grown a lot stronger. I think I've learned some unique things about myself from being his son. What is your happiest memory? My happiest memory is a time where someone who I consider now my brother, Carlos Gibbons, rescued me from what seemed like an endless field of pain and suffering in the form of pickers, and did so without a care in the world, and I'll never forget it. What do you love the most about life? The thing I love the most about life is life itself. The fact that we experience it the way that we do, and all of the things it took for us to experience it the way that we do. What do you think you've thought about most throughout your life, and what is the most profound revelation you've come to on said topic? I think I've thought the most in my life about nonsense, because I think a lot of what we think about from moment to moment, a lot of what I've thought about from moment to moment is nonsense. And the most profound revelation I feel on nonsense is that we should be comfortable with who we are, living in our own nonsense. What are words of wisdom that you would like the next generation to take to heart? That it is important that we play our role I think it is important that we play our role as individual responses to the system that we were created in, so that we can ensure we bring about the proper changes to improve it as it goes on. What do you hope the world will be like in 20 years? I hope that we use the technology and progress that we make each and every day as people to improve the lives of our fellow people, so that we can understand more about what it is we don't know, and so that we can do that in a way that brings the most prosperity for the most beings, I suppose. how would you like to be remembered in the future? I would like to be remembered as a friend, as someone who thought a lot about life, and someone who cared about a lot of people.
And now, it's time for the go crazy moment. So this video is 45 minutes so far. I don't care if it takes you a whole other 45 minutes. It's really up to you.
But
I want you to do shout outs. I want this to be a thing where if you have anyone that you want to thank, or just to show that you love or loved or whatever, to show them love, just go hard.
Appreciate it. I'm gonna forget so many people. Preface. Shout out to my parents, Marima and Jerry Miller, to my friend Carlos, who I consider brother, his sister Emma, their whole family, Miss Tocha, felt like a second family to me. Tiffany, her family, for taking care of me and for helping with a ton of stuff. Shout out to Jet and Ashley. Shout out to Ryan. Shout out to my professors at UAH who have made an incredible difference in my life, specifically Dr. Cronus, Dr. Gregory. Shout out to all of the people who have taught me things in my life that I would never have expected to. Shout out to Miss Jerry, who's my neighbor, across the street when I was a kid, who changed my perspective on stuff. Shout out to Father Clyde, my priest when I was a kid, changed my perspective on religion and life a lot. Shout out to, oh gosh, a ton of people, all of my friends throughout my life, whether we're friends now or not friends now. I appreciate you. At one point or another in our lives, you've impacted me incredibly, so I appreciate that. Goodness, I'm getting teary. Shout out to the world, y'all pretty cool. Shout out to I'm trying to think of real specific, niche people. Shout out to the rest of my family for sure. I just didn't say the rest of my family. Shout out to the rest of my family, extended family, everybody. My brother and sisters, of course. My brothers and sister, of course. Half siblings best. I appreciate you. Shout out to goodness. All of my teachers throughout my life. Sometimes I was not a good student, but I appreciate you. Shout out to goodness, all the different micronational people. Y'all have had a big impact on me. Specifically in teaching me different ways of thinking, and seeing other people's perspective and what they hope for their lives and their futures. And for teaching me a lot about how to engage with other people and how to try to find common ground, especially in situations that make it really easy to be adversarial. Shout out to all the people that worked at, I guess it was Homa Public Library when I was a kid. I have multiple really cool memories and thoughts about that place. Just from not even anything crazy or special in a particular moment, but just being there was always very cool. It felt very magical. That was an incredible place, and all the people there were always very helpful and friendly. Specifically in the Homa Library shout out, I'm taking up a lot more time in this one than the other ones, but it's not a tiered reason. Shout out to the people who did the astronomy club at the Homa Library when I was a kid. First time I ever like, I think really remember getting like hype about science. Big thing. Never like kept up with it. Never like went to any of y'all's things. But y'all were just outside one day when my dad and I were like leaving the library, and it was a thing where it's like, you want to look at the star, and I was like, yeah. And y'all showed me like multiple different planets and stuff up close. Really cool. Really big impact on my life. Thank y'all for that. Um, Shout out to goodness everyone in the future. Appreciate y'all. Y'all are cool. Hope y'all are doing good. Um, Shout out to all of my like previous family, like just people who came out before me. Like I'm glad I'm here. Thank you guys. Um, Shout out to um all the people who just like make a difference in each other's lives. Like there's so many people. That's basically everybody. But thank y'all for like taking the time out to be thoughtful and to be considerate in like individual moments with individual people. That's important. Um, Shout out to all the people who made like the really good music that I like to listen to. I appreciate you. I don't know most of your names. Appreciate you. People who make like funny shows and stuff. A lot of like comedians and stuff who I've like looked up to and really appreciated their perspective on the world and also the way that they like make people happy. Gosh. Shout out to oil companies and like stuff. Y'all kind of suck. Y'all shouldn't be doing that. I know you're doing it because you feel like you gotta do it, but you don't gotta do it. You know what I mean? Especially like the executives don't gotta do it. Shout out to um, all the people who are like in like war zone stuff, like people who are like on the receiving end of just violence, like whether it's state violence or like police violence or like just like personal life violence stuff. Y'all don't deserve that. That sucks. And a lot of the time things happen in life that aren't like because of anything that we did. And I'm sorry that you're going through that. You shouldn't. You shouldn't need to. Shouldn't be happening. Shout out to the sky, I guess. I don't know how far my voice reaches up there, but that's cool. I hope you hear it. Famous scientists, appreciate y'all. Similar thing, help to pave the way. Not famous scientists, also y'all are just cool. Appreciate y'all. That's fame and everything. Shout out to like everybody who like has like done a bad thing to some extent to me. Like I forgive y'all. Y'all are like good. Sometimes you don't think you're doing the wrong thing in a situation, and then later you regret it. And so if you do, we're good. Uh, Exception, people who have ever like committed real harsh violence against me or have like desired to commit really harsh violence. Except that, like y'all, don't forgive me. Not cool. Shout out to other species, I guess, y'all are cool. Other species on the earth making life possible for us. Other species out just in, the universe, whatever, especially if y'all are like, what we consider intelligent or whatever, maybe more or maybe less than whatever. Y'all are like cool. I would have loved to meet you. Hype about it. Maybe I will at some point. Never know. But appreciate you. That's it.
Thank you for your time. I really appreciate this. I hope that this acts as like a time capsule, so that if anyone wants to know what your life was like at this moment today, how you would answer these really hard questions, and thank you for like tackling them and being like emotionally vulnerable and honest about your feelings on like life and philosophy. Um, any like remaining like thing, like if there's one last thing you wanted to say to whoever's watching, whenever they're watching it, what would it be?
Are you hoping to do an outro or is this the outro?
This is the outro. After you say this thing and you let me know that this is the thing that you want, you can do like a thumbs up or something if you want it to truly be the last words. I just cut it off.
La 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 la.